No commercial?
No.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm your host, Dr. Lene Javette, and today we're having a powerful, I see what you did there, conversation about faith, submission, and what some are calling spiritual psychosis. A pastor's wife went viral for saying that she had the grace from God to iron her husband's clothes before he went to see his side chick. Okay. Now, some people see that as strength, some as manipulation, but most are asking, where do we draw the line between faith and foolishness? Is religion giving Black women power, or is it keeping us trapped in cycles of pain and sacrifice? How often are we taught that enduring disrespect is holy, that suffering makes us righteous, and that questioning leadership is rebellion? Today, we're not here to attack faith, but to ask, is some of what we've been taught hurting us more than it helps? Let's unpack spiritual psychosis, submission, and the price Black women are paying emotionally, mentally, and financially to be seen as faithful. All righty. We have a full house today. We have our executive producer, Tiara Williams, also known as Miss Black Hollywood. We have Shar Curry, the #1 female advocate for men. She's an author, relationship strategist, motivational speaker. We also have Dr. Alicia Watkins. She is a couples coach, licensed therapist, social work professor, advocate for healthy relationships. And last but not least, rounding us out, we have Noma Langa, who does not have her stuff in here, but I know she does the 3 M's, which is marriage, motherhood, and money. Booyah. All right.
Money making.
Money and money making. I knew it was 3
Yeah.
M's. Money making. Well, technically that's 4 then, right? Money making is actually 4 M's, but that's neither here nor there. So, are we doing the game? Are we starting with the game, or are we going to go to the video first?
Yes. So let's start with the game, ladies. We're going to play a game called Have You Ever? The spiritual edition. And I want to start with just asking you, ladies. So the rules of the game is, if a question comes up, you just answer with yes or no. Does everyone have, can you take it out? Does everyone have their yes or no? Everybody have their yes or no? Either on a piece of paper or a dry erase board. Does everybody have? Yes. Perfect. What about you, Noma? You got it? You coming?
I'm getting it.
You coming. Okay. Let's start with our first question. Have you ever prioritized loyalty over your freedom because you believe leaving was against God's will? Have you ever prioritized loyalty, stayed loyal, stayed down over anything that you believed otherwise? You didn't leave because you believed leaving would be against God's will. Yes or no?
No.
What does that say? No. Okay.
No.
All right. And in the chat, please make sure that you are typing the answers to your questions as well. This is for all of us, remember. All right. Question number 2. Did somebody say no? Oh, let me see one more time. Yes or no? I'm sorry. One more time. Yes. Okay. No. Shar, what did you say?
Yes, I already erased it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. I just wanted to see. I just wanted to get an idea. All right. All right. Next question. Have you ever believed that suffering made you more righteous or closer to God? Yes or no? Have you ever believed that suffering made you more righteous or brought you closer to God? Yes or no? Okay. All right.
They're asking if they can answer. Of course, y'all can answer.
All right. Okay. All right. We see some people in the chat. Yes and a no. Sophia, yes. Booker, no. All right. Final question. Well, not final question. Final question before we get to the video is go ahead and roll that other video. Have you ever felt ashamed because you couldn't pray away sadness, depression, or your sexuality? Have you ever felt ashamed because you couldn't pray away sadness, depression, anxiety? I'll put all of that in there, or your sexuality. Yes
Ashamed is the
or
word that gets
no?
me stuck. That's why I'm gonna go with no, because the word says ashamed. So
Have you ever felt ashamed? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that was the first portion of our game. I love some of the answers that I saw. Some, for the most part, I really love what I saw. But Lene, do you want to go ahead and throw it to our video to just
yeah,
get
let's
us
go ahead and
started in
watch
this
our video
conversation?
because it's gonna all make sense. So let's get
It's
to the
gonna
video and
all
then we're gonna come back and get into it.
Yes.
I had a radical heart shift from that moment. I got in my word, under my word. I just completely changed as a person. And I realized that God loves me, that God has a purpose and plan for my life, that God chose me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. So he would call me out my name. It wouldn't bother me because I allowed God's voice to be louder than his. And when I was going through transition of him not coming home on the weekends, not being there, telling me, I hate you, I'll never love you, I wish I never married you. Right. I knew that life and death is in the power of the tongue through the word of God. So I would say, you will love me one day. We will have a good marriage one day. And although he would go out for weekends, I would literally help him get ready to go meet a side chick by ironing his clothes and getting him ready for the night. And these are all things I was graced to do. I would not encourage anybody to do that unless you are graced by God to do this. But once I knew who I was, I realized, oh,
her face. So where do you go from there? Okay. So she says she realized that she was graced to do these things. I wish I had the definition of grace in front of me right now. I do not.
I'll grab it.
When I first saw it the first time, I turned the video off like right there. And then watching it this second time and I'm listening to her and I'm hearing it differently this time. I'm hearing it, we're watching it, we're seeing it, we're like, it cannot be me. And there's just a lot of like, just angst when we watch it. But now I'm watching it and I'm hearing, well, it's the same as, people say in order to be married for 50 years, you got to go through some things. And some of these things are not going to be beautiful, right? So how is it different from the woman who stays with her husband that is abusive, or the woman that stays with her husband that is a drunk and they get through it and they get past it, or the woman that stays with her husband who's doing drugs and goes to rehab? But we're going to get to that. I'm just saying what I heard the second time around. I heard it a little bit differently the second time around. So we'll start with this, Dr. Alicia. Have you ever been told to stay in a situation because God will fix it?
Yeah, and can I just hear your initial reactions to the video itself? Like, I will also want to hear that as well, in addition to you answering the question.
I think denial is a very important step toward dealing with something extremely painful. It is a devastating experience, and sometimes the pain that something like that could cause an individual, it can really push them into denial because that's what they really need in that moment in order to maintain everything and to keep themselves together. So in that moment, her stepping into denial and was better than dealing with the pain of what was happening with her. And it's a psychological response and a defense mechanism that that is a normal process in eventually accepting and getting to the point where you're ready to deal with the pain of betrayal. And she just could not step into what she was feeling. And I don't know if they're pastors or whatever it is, but for her to accept the reality of what was going on would mean that it would have to shatter her entire life. So I think that we need to look at that denial in a way that's a little more compassionate. It's so easy to point the finger, ooh, what's she doing? You know, but I think that and it took a lot of bravery for her to get up and to talk about that publicly and openly. And, you know, I don't know these people, I don't know their story, but that's my initial reaction to that video. It's really sad to see something like that happen.
And even if they were pastors at the time, like, we don't know how long ago this happened. But was this before they became religious? Was this after he was a pastor? Norma Langer, what about you? Have you ever been told to stay in that situation because God will fix it? And or what were your initial thoughts when you saw it?
So my initial thoughts when I saw it was coming from, if you're coming from a biblical standpoint, actually, the one place where the Bible is very clear about when you can leave a marriage is when there's infidelity. So she's certainly not applying biblical principles. And then in terms of hearing from God, it's possible that sometimes we hear our own voice and then say that is God. And that was my initial reaction. But to Dr. Alicia's point that, you know, when you kind of try to put yourself in a position where you're understanding, we don't know. I have more questions than answers to this situation. I really wonder when this happened, why she chose to stay, and also the last thing I'll say is, for some people, whether it's hard to believe or not, infidelity is not a deal breaker. When they can look at their relationship and say, we've been together 40 years, we've got children, we've got family. Sometimes people's families are so blended that, I mean, I remember my parents were together for 50 years before my father passed away. You couldn't tell when they were together which of the siblings were my mother's or my father's because they were so integrated. And I think sometimes people can't fathom taking that apart.
Okay. Shar, what are your thoughts before we go to break?
You know what? I have been in this situation, actually. I was married for almost 25 years, and I was in the church during a lot of those years. And there was a time where, you know, there was just a lot of stuff that went on physically, if you will. And so there was a time where I felt like I had to go to my pastor and talk to him. And he said, well, what are you doing to make him hit on you? So, you know, like there's this certain thing in the church where a lot of times, even the headship of said, you know, religion, I'm going to call it religion, they will say things that make you second guess yourself, even though you know it's not right. I had the elder women in the church saying, oh, well, you just need to anoint his side of the bed and pray for him. And you need to go through all these different measures, did all that, and still nothing changed. But at the end of the day, as far as her hearing from God, we don't know what that looks like, because it is a relationship between her and God, right? So, you know, and like no one said, I have so many questions.
Gotcha. Tiara, do you want to give us your opinion? You want to give it when we get back from break?
Yeah, because I need time, Jesus. Let's go ahead and go to break. Let's go ahead and go to break, and we'll come back. We'll come right back.
All right, perfect. Let's do that.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
You have to know to grow. Let me tell you, I'm going to go to Tiara so she can give us her opinion, but I got to just report on Armando Wall's comment, who said he clearly forced her to listen to Kevin Samuel's videos and played them to her subconsciously while she slept. Listen and we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
Okay. Oh, what were your thoughts? She said, no, that's not what we do. Go ahead.
Okay.
What were your
So
thoughts?
I'm gonna just hold this right here on my forehead while I talk. There were some things that I heard that were, when I'm thinking about God and just the principles of who God is love. Literally, literally to me, it's like love, right? And I hear that, and I hear someone saying, he called me out of my name. He told me that he would never love me. And she said, and I prayed and I said, one day you will love me. That's not God. It just doesn't feel like that's of God. I'm gonna just say that. I told him, yes, he would love me. I feel like sometimes we can put God, it just as a woman that goes to church and that is involved in church. I think sometimes women, it does feel like a spiritual psychosis almost, where you lose like common sense, like you lose logic. Like there's a little bit of like where you can be so spiritual and there's things literally happening to you that you're like, I'm gonna just trust God. I'm gonna trust God because you want that thing. But I think that we should also mention that I don't know if anybody, to me, it just sounds like there was some issues with self-esteem and self-worth. And that's what it sounds like to me. And she wanted this man, because sometimes we get addicted to men. Sometimes we get addicted to things. And it's like, I'm addicted to him. And then that dopamine or whatever that chemical thing is that Dr. Alicia can tell me what that is, that makes you feel like it's almost like spiritual, and it's like that chemical reaction that happens in the body that you like, you almost, it's making you hallucinate like God came to me when it's really you. And because that's what you want so bad. So I'm gonna just say it's a self-worth issue. And I see that sometimes in the church where we'll be sacrificing our self-worth and ourselves, saying like, this is what God wants me to do. I believe now it worked out in her favor. Obviously they're looking at this in retrospect and now it's like, but I feel like I'd be looking at him like, I don't know, like almost trying to stab him, but that's just me.
Okay, so
it's just me.
Shonda says that wife wanted to be chosen by him, and the husband knew she would tolerate his foolishness and disrespect. Yep. I watched that DFW episode live and hated how they misrepresented scripture to support sin. So, Shar, do you think that the church pushes women to prioritize a man over themselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is my thing. I feel like if the man is holding up his end of the deal, then it is our duty to uplift him first, because he's the head, we come, and then the children, right? That's just the order that I believe. I do feel like a lot of times the religion and the Bible is misconstrued, if you will. And sometimes they try to control the outcome. They try to control the women. They try to control certain things that the woman does in the home with religion, but not match it up with scripture, if you will.
Okay. And then, Namalinga, how do you think, how has the church shaped the views, it says your views, on womanhood and submission?
Okay, so the way that I've formulated my views on submission and womanhood were not based on religion. They were based on family, culture, and tradition. I am a Christian, so my family and traditional cultural values don't contradict my faith, so they go together. But that's not what that was not the basis of what I understand about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a wife, and what it means submission. But if you want to take it there, the Bible does clearly say it. So it's not my views. And that's the thing about, if you say that you're a Christian, it really isn't about you and what you think. You have to look at, you're buying into this belief system, and the Bible is a manual, if you will. And you can't pick and choose, like, okay, I don't like submission, so I don't want that. And, oh, I like the part where it says God saves me when I'm in trouble, I'll take that, and so on and so on. Okay, I'll stop there.
All right, so we can't have the conversation on submission without asking Dr. Alicia, because we've had these roundhouse conversations about submission before. But before I ask you about submission, Dr. Alicia, are you a Christian or religious? Because last time I think you come from more of a science background, a science perspective. So are you Christian, or are you religious, or are you I think you're more spiritual? I just can't remember.
Yeah, I take a spiritual approach to the Bible because that's what makes sense to me and in my life.
That's what I think. So I wanted to preface
that is because you have to understand, I've grappled with this for many years. And for a very long time, I was just going along with people were telling me, and I never really questioned it. But once I started diving into the Bible, I researched it from a scientific perspective, and I started getting into the spirituality of the allegories in that Bible. That made sense to me. So that is what I go by. And there are no contradictions, because if I look at the Bible literally, it smacks in the face of too many contradictions. And my brain just can't deal with holding two separate things like that. And it wasn't making sense to me. And I like things to make sense. But when I started looking at the Bible as an allegory, as a spiritual development that happens with ourselves, then that's where I personally got a lot of growth, a lot of meaning from it. And it helps resolve. Everything got resolved for myself. That was my development, the process that I chose to go through. And it doesn't contradict anything for me. So when I understand that you're married to a person, you're not married to suffering. You don't get to betray our marriage and sleep in the same bed with me. You don't get that, because I have a self-esteem. And that's what I encourage. You don't get to disrespect me, call me names, tell me that you don't love me. You don't get to do that and sleep in the bed with me. No. My area and my who and what I am is precious. So no, you don't get to do that, because I'm treating you with the utmost level of respect. And if you can't do that in return, then I'm not married to suffering. I'm married to you in the best you could be. So I totally understand that. And I have a deep love for anybody that I'm married. Well, I'm married to my husband. I have a deep love for him, but he can't just up and do stuff like that and then think he can come home to, no, that don't work that way.
Yeah, I don't think
you're married or you're not married.
Yeah, I don't think submission means that you should let somebody treat you badly or disrespect you or talk to you crazy.
There's consequences to their behavior.
When you're submitting to say that this person is of good faith and that they're going to look out for me and they're going to take care of me, they're going to provide me, they're not going to treat me bad. That's not to say somebody might not hurt your feelings. We know that you may have situations, but overall. They're there to look out for you.
Realistically, it is not about the problems. Realistically, it's how you deal with the problems. Realistically, there's always going to be problems. There's always going to be pain that you have to go through because your partner says something insensitive. What you're not signing up for.
We're gonna hold on one second, Lisa. We'll come back to you. We have to go to break, and then we'll come back to get your comment. I'm so sorry. Let's go to break, and then we'll come back and get that.
I know. You're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. we often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government. But guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
You ain't got to struggle. We coming. And don't forget to go and leave us a review on Spotify and let people know how much you like us. That's what she said. She said, go and do it. Norma, finish your comment, and then I'm going to go to Shar. I have a question for Shar. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say that it's very important to understand that when we talk about submission, talking about a woman submitting, there's a caveat or lots of caveats that come before that submission. If you're going to look at from a traditional standpoint, a woman can never submit to a man who doesn't have elders above him, that if he is not acting right, he's accountable to them and he should be held accountable. And it's also advisable that when he's in a bad situation, it's okay to leave the household until he corrects himself. So you don't commit yourself to rubbish, and even if you do choose to submit, again, you're submitting yourself to a man who's worthy of that submission. You don't take any old fool off the street and then throw submission at him. You will get hurt. You will get devastated. It's very, very dangerous. So I think it's very important to understand that there's a lot of caveats before you can kind of surrender or submit yourself to a specific man or to your marriage or that unit.
All right, cool. Shar, do you think that there is a difference between faith and blind loyalty in relationship or otherwise?
Okay, so when it comes to faith, we can have faith that something will be done, right? But when it comes to, you said benign loyalty?
Blind loyalty.
Oh, blind loyalty. Okay, so when it comes to blind loyalty, I will say this. I feel like that is someone that does that may have a low comprehension level, a low psychological and emotional intelligence level. So when we look at it like that, we have some people that will be loyal to something that they don't understand or that they don't comprehend. So with that being said, we can have faith, like I said, we can have faith that something may happen or will happen. But at the end of the day, we can also have a certain mindset and perspective that causes us to have blind loyalty to something that we should get rid of.
Okay. Tara, what about, so a lot of times when we believe we're hearing from God, right? So we're showing up at situations and we're like, God told me to do this. First of all, let me say, it took me forever to hear from God, a very long time. And then when I did start to hear from God, I used to always question myself, like, is that me? And so I would do things like, if I heard from God, I would then talk to myself in my brain to see, like, okay, is that me or is that you, God? And if sometimes the response would come back, and other times it would just be me, and I'd be like, okay, I'm talking to myself. But how do we differentiate healthy spiritual guidance from manipulation or literally just hearing ourselves talk to ourselves?
Yeah, I think, it's very hard to know, right? Like you said, you don't know if it's you or you don't know if it's God, depending on your relationship. And I think that belief is, especially when it comes to religion, like all of this is so subjective, right? Like I tell myself all the time, like, can y'all believe that we are literally floating on a rock in the middle of space paying bills, right? We don't know what's happening next. We don't know what, we know that we know that when we look around there's this beauty, and that there's a creator because of just what we see, right? But we don't know the particulars. So you have to just kind of come up with your own, like you have to know that whatever created you, because we just appeared, there has to be something that created, because nothing comes from nothing. But then also knowing that if you came from your mom, you came from your mom, we all came from God. So he's in us. So it's just like having that, like God is in you, like he's in you, right? So you don't have to go far looking up to the heavens for something that's already in you. You just have to determine, and I think be healthy enough. Dr. Alicia can tell us more about that, but being healthy enough spiritually to know, the difference. And so I would just say that, just like knowing yourself, knowing what you believe, and also checking whether that's a mental illness or not, like checking to see like if it's you or if it's just because it's all subjective.
I will tell you that I agree with you. I do agree with you, but I also think you have to know your Bible and you have to know where you are in your relationship with God, because there are some pieces in the Bible where everything is not peachy keen. Everything is not beautiful. God puts you in situations that don't look good. They don't feel good. They're uncomfortable. And you will challenge, like, Lord, are you sure? Why am I here? Like, this don't look like what it's supposed to look like. This don't look like an abundant life. This doesn't look like what you promised me. This is what you said. And I'm in this situation, and that's not what it is. And we will challenge, like, well, maybe I didn't hear from God, or maybe this isn't what I was supposed to do. Because everything is not supposed to look good. The only way sometimes that God can get the glory and the testimony is for you to go through that thing. And that thing might look ugly, like ironing your husband's shirt. I'm not saying that that's what it is. And I'm not saying that that's what he said or did not say. But what I am saying is everything is not going to be good. Because if everything is good, then there's no testimony. If everything is good, then how do you know the bad from what's from right? So sometimes it's going to look messy and it might not be cute, and people might laugh at you and you might be talked about, right? Because you're going against the grain of what's normal. But sometimes you have to go through that because God has to get the glory out of what the thing is. I'm not saying again that that's what I'm here.
Can I just say really quickly, and I feel you. Listen, I was the one that was like Jesus, but even thinking about the Bible and what we've been taught. So when I got to, I went to a Catholic school. I went to Xavier University of Louisiana, the only Black Catholic school in the Western Hemisphere. And one of the things was they made us go to theology and philosophy. And we had to, it was part of the curriculum to say like, why? When I got to my first philosophy class, I was like, because Jesus. And my professor was like, but why? But why? How do you know that? He used to always say, but how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? I'd be like, because the word says, where did the word come from? Where did it come from? Who wrote it? Who's the word? Who's Matthew? Matthew who? I was like, and after a while I stopped. And then I took like a sabbatical where I went and studied everything. And there's so many similarities between all of the words and all of the religions that it made me, and I came back to Jesus. I'm not saying whatever, but I'm just saying that we have to just understand that there's a book full of parables, and that we're it literally, like when I think of Noah, I don't think Noah really got on a boat. I'm not gonna front. I don't think he got on a boat and was herding lions. Can you imagine? He'd have got ate, right? You get on a boat, and then, but what the discipline was like, if you are not prepared and you have not, what I think the parable was saying, if you're not prepared for life's storms, you will die in a flood. You will be caught up, right? It wasn't. So anyway, I get the parables and I get the word and I get what you're saying, Lene, but I just think we have to start questioning those things sometimes. I can't hear you. Are you talking? Are you talking?
I am talking. I'm sorry. Oh. I was saying that let's get ready to go to the game. I know we have some more questions and we have more videos too, and we have stats.
Yes.
The thing about, and this might be a conflict, but the thing about the Bible and spirituality and or religion is if you start questioning too much, you'll start questioning a lot more. So there are certain things that I do question, and other things I'm like, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because that's going to start unraveling certain things that I do not want to have unravel. What I do is I look at my life and I look at how it is, and I know where I started and I know how I got here. And what I will tell somebody is you just got to me too late. If you try to talk to me about anything that has to do with my faith, you got to me too late because I know where I could have ended up. I should be dead. I'm not. I should not be in my right mind. I am. I should not be sitting here talking to you guys with a PhD in Cornell, getting my business accelerator. I should not. I should be somewhere real crazy, if not dead. And I know that is only because of God, right? And so because of that, there's a lot of things that I do not question. So I guess some of it is blind faith.
Like a blind faith.
Is that blind faith?
Blind faith.
Go ahead. Let's go to our questions. What's our next set of questions?
All right, let's get into it. Hallelujah. Let's get into it. So can I have that next question? All right, here we go. All right. Have you ever been told to submit to a man without him being held to that same standard? Have you ever been told to submit to a man without him being held to that same standard? In the chat,
I
give
got
us the
questions. Have you ever been told to submit to a man? By who?
Sure. I
Anybody?
mean, have you ever been told to
Don't
submit?
ask the
Right.
question.
Give it to me again, Gwen. Have you ever been told to submit to a man without him being held to the same standard? Did he not have to submit to you? Was there reciprocity in that submission? Have you ever been in you can even tell me, have you ever been in a relationship where you submitted to somebody that had not submitted to you?
That's a weird one, but I'll go with no, I guess.
Oh.
Okay. What's the No, Blank, I gotta
Just
hear
the
it.
question.
I got it. Okay. All right. I'll take that protest. All right. I'll take it. Next question. You have to tell me why.
Okay.
You have to tell me why.
Oh, do you want me to tell you why? I'll be moving on to the next
Tell
question.
me real quick.
So I'll keep it short. The thing is, the relationship between men and women doesn't require the same things. The same things we require from a man are not required from a woman. We are supposed to submit to our husbands, and they're supposed to submit to God, if you're looking at it from the biblical standpoint. So asking if you are asked to submit to him and he submits to you, it doesn't fit you understand?
The narrative.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
what you're saying. I mean, I love what you're saying, but that's interesting. I feel it. Okay. All right. All right, let's go to the next question. Have you ever given money to the church when you didn't really have it, thinking you'd get a blessing back? Again, have you ever given money to the church when you didn't really have it, thinking you would be blessed, you would get a blessing in return? Okay.
Sure, you put an LOL at the end. Say yes, man.
I definitely done made a sacrifice. Last question, and then we're going to go to the next video. Have you ever worked for free or served at the church and got nothing in return? Have you ever worked for free or served at a church and got nothing in return?
That's a loaded question. Yeah, no.
I always
It's not
give everything
service
in
if you're
church of
expecting something in
God.
return.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the service, like there's
Really protesting the question.
Yeah, it's a spiritual return. I don't know.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
not.
okay.
It's not service if you're
Yeah.
expecting something back.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're right. Lene, do you want to just go ahead? Let's just go ahead and throw it to the next
video?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
go to the next video. Okay.
Okay.
This year, God told me that I was going to meet my husband.
Oh, jump here.
I was about to talk about how she was in a relationship, she wasn't happy, and if she would have stayed with him, she would have settled. Though she left him, and she set up a password with God. Pretty much, it's a sign between you and God. You're like, hey, God, show me this, and I'll know it's you. Her password pretty much was, I want to see Cinderella. Me seeing that video was like, I want to be just like her. My password is going to be Cinderella too. If the Cinderella sign comes, I know that I'm going to meet my husband this year, and it's not someone I've already met. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, God, I'm not her. If you bless us individually and specifically, so my sign is going to be Princess Tiana. So a few weeks later, I'm not really tripping on it. I go home, back to Denver to visit my family. I usually wake up and go to the gym in the mornings. I had just traveled, I'm tired, I'm like, I'm not going to the gym. But God was like, yes, you are. So I get up, go to the gym, by the gym, there's this taco truck. And I come home, I put the tacos in the refrigerator, and what do I see on the refrigerator? This picture of Princess Tiana that my sister drew. This has been there for probably 2 years now, but it never had any significance to me. And that's the thing I love about God, is he will take nothing and make it into something in order to prove himself to you. Crazy, just elated, right? And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so let's talk about what that is.
Signs and wonders.
Let me explain what was happening, y'all, because it was going a little
Please,
fast.
because it was going so fast, and
I know.
please.
So basically, what she was saying was that she asked God, she gave God a password to let her know that, to give her basically a sign that it was him sending her husband, right? So she was like, so her password was Princess Tiana. And so she said, as soon as she went over, her family's house, there was a Princess Tiana on the refrigerator. And then she would go to different places and see other Disney characters. And so finally, I guess she met a man, and he said something about Cinderella. He said something about Cinderella, and she was like, oh, this is my husband. So that was it, but it was going really fast. So God sent, look at Dr. Alicia's face. Listen, I want to go to Dr. Alicia just because. What is that face for?
You know, I remember Risa Tisa. Remember Risa Tisa, who the F did I marry?
Mm-hmm.
I remember her going through something like this, thinking that that was the husband for her. I think this is the real issue. The issue is that we need to, submission is a good word, but I think we also need to think about suppression and what it does to us physically. There's so many Black women out here who have autoimmune diseases, heart disease, all of these physical health issues. In studies are out there that is directly tied to suppression of how you feel, not being able to express your real feelings, how you really feel about the pain that someone caused you. And the more you're in denial and the more you suppress how you feel, it's going to come up somewhere, and it comes up in physical health issues. Yeah. And so what we need to do is we need to understand that we have problems, all of us, understand that there's pain that we have to go through in this life, but you are not signing up to suffer from it. And the more you suffer and the more you suppress, psychologically, it really takes its toll on your mental health. In turn, it shows up in your physical health. And so that's the reason why Black women have all of these diseases. We have got to stop using religion and the Bible to ignore real, true feelings and emotions that's happening for you. And I think if anybody goes to a church and they're telling you that, you need to discharge that church and go find something else that is more validating of your experience, because we're dying from it.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's look at some stats.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
They out here looking for you. They're looking for you. Let's look at some stats. Let's look at some stats and see what's going on in the church. So flynubianmoney.com says that 83% of Black women say religion is very important to them, and Black churches are predominantly filled with women, but nearly all church leadership is male. Okay. Only 15% of pastors in Black churches are women, despite women being the majority of attendees and volunteers. And despite economic hardship, Black Americans are among the most generous tithers. Some give up to 10% or more of their income to the church, often at the expense of their own financial stability. Black women are less likely to seek therapy due to religious teachings that equate faith with endurance and praying it away. So the question I have is not right. Go ahead, Tiara.
I was just going to ask, actually, I wanted to, can I ask Shar the question about emotional suppression? Because I love what Dr. Alicia said, and it made me think of Shar saying she stayed in a 25-year marriage. Are there times when you felt like that, like, let me just endure, like these ideas? Did you feel like that? And how long before you said no more?
Absolutely. And before I left 6 years ago, I left 5 times prior to that. But what I want to say, and just to piggyback off what Dr. Alicia was saying, for especially in Black homes from childhood, we are taught to be seen and not heard. So what happens is when we become young adults and adults, they expect us to have this full blown, a high level of communication, but it doesn't work that way. So because we were taught our entire lives to be suppressed and not speak, that is what happens also when we become adults. So for a long time, I didn't speak up. For a long time, I didn't tell my family. For a long time, I wouldn't even buck up against him. So that being said, when it comes to the church and why I stayed. Like I had my grandmother, I left for a little while. I had my grandmother who was in the church saying, well, Cook, they call me Cookie Cook. I think he's really changed. I think you should give him another chance. I had the elders, I had pastors. So I had all these high level elders and leaders telling me all these different things that I needed to do in order to help him. But in reality, I was the one that was suffering. The kids were suffering. Our mental wellness was suffering. Financially, we were suffering. So there's all this suffering that was going on. And you know, I felt like we didn't have anywhere to turn to. So, you know, I'm grateful that I started to fast. I started to really get therapy. Therapy is important. Somebody said that in the chat. I started to get therapy, and I spiritually started to really fast and tap in to my inner self. And the more I healed myself internally is the more confidence I got, the more clarity I got, because so many times I was just confused. I was so confused at one point to where I was depressed. I had anxiety. I was going from the bed to the bathroom to the doctor for almost a year. And I would just barricade myself because there was so much suppression going on. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful that, you know, I got clarity now, woke up.
Yeah. And we shouldn't scapegoat therapy. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people
I'm going to ask you this question, which ties to that, which is, what's the emotional toll of being told to pray it away instead of seeking therapy?
Are you asking me or Dr.?
No, that's for Dr. Alicia. Like, what happens when we're told just to pray it away instead of seeking therapy?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I wanted to say, let's not scapegoat therapy is the reason why this family broke apart. You know, and I know that there's some people who've been scapegoat. Oh, therapy is the reason why. It's not. You know, it is connecting to her feelings, and he makes a choice. Your husband at that time could have said, "I am so sorry. I want to fix this. I want to become a better person. I want to make amends for all of the things that I've done to you and this entire family." And perhaps it could have been a thriving moment for all of you. But he was the one that wasn't committed. You know, he was the one. He is, and it's a dynamic there. But to scapegoat therapy is one thing that I'm starting to see a lot pop up online, and I'm just wondering, like, whoa, what is this with therapy? It's the two people in the relationship that makes it work.
Because there has to be accountability.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you answer the question?
What? Praying it away.
Wait, what was the question? I thought I did.
Okay, so it says, what happens, not necessarily in her situation, but in general, when people who in church are told to just pray it away instead of seeking therapy? Is there an emotional thing that happens, or should you do both?
I think that, you know, as a therapist, I think spirituality and prayer is beautiful. I think it's a wonderful thing. And I definitely encourage people who are religious and are spiritual and whatever their religious orientation. I think it's just a strength. It's a strength for a lot of people going through something very painful. But you can't ignore real experiences that are happening to you. I know there was this idea of psychosis that can happen when it's just too overwhelming psychologically to deal with the reality of your life. And maybe you're not at the point where you can confront some of the truth that's happening in your own life. But when you're ready to confront it, it will come up for you. And so not everybody's ready to confront everything that's happening in their personal life. Yeah. But you will get signs when your psyche is ready to deal with some of the things that you've been putting off. And so therapy is a great way to make amends and make and to process all of these things. And it, to me, it shouldn't go against religion. And so religion can be something that can be used as a tool to suppress. And that's something that I don't think that that's the flavor of religion. It's supposed to be freedom. It's supposed to be you connecting with a higher power so that you can grow and learn and love. And whenever you're in a situation that crushes some of that, that is not God's intention for anybody. So,
Dr. Alicia, can I ask something really quick? Can you talk to us about how the confusion that's brought in can cause mental illness? Can you taltalk about that?
Yeah, because mental illness happens when you are so disconnected from how you feel, because it creates so much anxiety. I mean, you'd be so surprised how many people have panic attacks Like they could be driving in their car somewhere, and then all of a sudden, all of this stuff is coming up. That's when you know you're suppressing something so deeply that you just cut yourself off from yourself, because it's really too painful for you to deal with. There's some things that happen and you just get amnesia about it. Like, what just happened? I can't believe it. Just like this example of this lady. And so you're not able to deal with it, and it causes psychosis and panic attacks, and you can't leave your house, and you're not connecting. And really, the feelings connected to what happens to you is God talking to you. You know, it is a therapist coming in your life at a time when you're ready for it, to just ask this question: what is it that you want for yourself? And most people know what that answer is when they come to therapy. They know something is not right.
Right.
And for so long, it's been too painful to realize what it is. And you wonder, no wonder relationships are falling apart, because you're denying yourself. You're not being intimate with yourself. You can't be intimate with anyone else if you're not intimate with what's going on inside of you.
The thing about therapy and religion that I don't think people think about, not even therapy and religion, just therapy in general. When I was doing therapy, the thing that I enjoyed about it is that there's a couple of things, but one is you get to say the things that you don't normally get to say. You get to say the ugly stuff. You get to say the things that you think are going to hurt somebody's feelings. You get to release anxiety. You get to release the pressures of what you think other people think about you. And I mean, it's so freeing to say these things out loud that you probably have not said, but you've been thinking. The other thing about therapy around religion is, if you are not really put in a place where you can hear from God and you're really just talking to yourself, then what therapy does is it allows you to speak and hear back. So you actually get to have dialogue, because for many years, I've been a Christian since I was little. My mom had baptized when I was little, but I didn't really know what that meant. And it wasn't probably until I'm 48, probably within the last 5 years, I started to hear from God. So the first 43 years of my life, I'm just praying and talking. I'm not getting nothing back. I probably was, but I was out in the streets. I'm like, who knows? He might have been talking to me and I just couldn't hear it. But when I really was like, Lord, I need to hear from you, and I started to hear from him, it's very different. But therapy, it's just a different, not out of body experience, in body experience, where you're connecting with somebody and saying, this is what I'm dealing with and what I'm going through. Hearing yourself say it and them talking you through what that is. And people think that, I have a friend who always says, you're just going there, they're going to tell you what to do. They don't. Like, literally, you get to hear yourself talk, and you get to hear yourself talk through things. And it's call and response. Well, what did you think about that? Well, how'd that make you feel? Well, did it? And before you know, you'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Like, it's just an awakening of self that is
really
so
quick before we go to break.
Wait, because I got to listen. No, y'all, no, don't say nothing else. I got to go to commercial. I got stats. I got therapy in 8 minutes, and we got to get through these things. All right, let's go to commercial.
Welcome to the 4th annual Black Power Business Conference. Yay! I'm Dr. Lene Javette, and I created this space because I know what it feels like to be a Black woman building something powerful, but doing it without support, without strategy, and without rest. This space was created just for us. It's a space where we talk real, we grow big, and build businesses that aren't just profitable, but sustainable. This isn't just any conference, no. It's a movement. It's for Black entrepreneurs who are done doing it alone and ready to scale with strategy. I want you in the room. Whether it's your first time or your 4th time, welcome home. This is your space to be poured into, to grow, and to move with power. So grab your seat, bring your brilliance, and bring your bestie. And let's build something that lasts together. And that chick is cute. Who's that chick with the short out? She's so
cute. Really, can I say something really quick? When it comes to therapy, just because you start off with someone doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Find somebody that works for you, or else therapy won't.
That's right.
Yes.
Listen, I want to play this last video, and then we already hit stats, and then we'll come back and have final thoughts. But I do want to play it and just have your react. Since we didn't get to see the last one, I want to watch this one. Let's do it.
So God will confirm to you through various ways. He can use scripture. He can use people, dreams, movies, TV shows, music. God will confirm to you and send you signs to let you know that this is sent by him and this is ordained. God spoke to me through various stories in the Bible, and God confirmed my husband was the one through a Disney movie. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say Disney's demonic, but look, God can use anything to reveal something to you.
All right, let's get to your questions.
Oh yeah, let's get to these questions. That's right. I forgot I had them messing with y'all. All right, give it to me. All right. Have you ever waited for your Boaz, which means the one, because you were told he would come if you just stayed patient? Have you ever waited for your Boaz because you were told he would come if you just stayed patient? What does that say? That say no? Or does that say yes? What's on your head?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All
yes.
right. Yes. Definitely have waited. All right. All right, here we go. Have you ever been told that you are making money, that making money was too prideful and ungodly? Have you ever been told that making money was too prideful or not godly?
Yes, you have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got 3 minutes before Tiara has to get out of here. So we're going to do, wait, there's one more? Okay.
Last one. It's the last one. Have you ever trusted a leader, a church leader, even when your gut told you something was off? Okay. All right. So that concludes our game. Have you ever? Thank you guys for playing. You have won a consolation prize of just being. Good job. Good job is a consolation prize.
You did a good job.
Good job.
All right, so we're going to do a very quick round robin with our final thoughts. If we can keep them under 30 seconds, that would be great so we can close on time today. I will start with you, Noma Lenga, if you would like to give us your final thought and tell people where they can find you. You're on mute before you start speaking.
Yep.
You're still on mute if you are speaking. No, you're still on mute. There you go.
I'm going to say that the overwhelming thought that I've had through this whole segment has that I wish we had a pastor on this panel to kind of break down some of these things and help us understand better from a person who's really studied and is deep in the word. But I will say this, that my observation has been that a lot of times we're getting advice or getting information from human beings who have their own biases, even though they're church leaders or whatever they are. And that can lead us astray, that can cause us to have God misrepresented and really lead us into some dangerous situations. I believe that woman we were listening to, the original one, was talking about ironing shirts. I think she was just in danger. I will say this, though. I think that a lot of us as Christians tend to be lukewarm Christians, but the most important thing about your faith is having a direct relationship with God. And if you don't have it, you need to cultivate it if that's what you've committed to. Where you can find me, my name is here as Nomalangam Sally Moses. That's my name on Facebook. I can also be found on Instagram as Noma Moses, and I have my own YouTube channel also under Nomalangam Sally Moses.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Dr. Alicia, your final thoughts on where people can find you?
Okay, final thoughts. I really like the conversation we had today. That's my final thought. I like the fact that therapy allows you to connect with who and what you really are. The God power is in you, and you need to connect with that. I think sometimes with these high control religions, some people can come out of those situations and really feel spiritual abuse. Starting to see that. There are a lot of my students who are researching that. And so it is a very real thing. So when you start looking for something outside of yourself to save you, it's not going to happen. And hopefully therapy will strengthen that healthy part of you that is the God power in you, so that you know you can go forward in life very confident in who and what you are. You can reach me, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Follow me on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
I love it. Miss Williams, Miss Black Hollywood, Tiara, final thoughts and where people can find you.
Yeah, right quick, as I head to therapy myself. In terms of religion, I agree with what Nomalinga said about having a pastor on, and our pastor was not available today. But I will say this, from the beginning of our time in America as people, we have been taught a religion that really was not it was created in a way, or curated to us in a way, to control us. Black people, right? So we've never heard a real, genuine version of the gospel without it being manipulated to use as a control mechanism, right? And so when I think of that, it just has to be, when I know that there's skewed in there and there's all of these things, I'm not scared to ask questions. Although I know that I'm a constant worshiper. God know throughout the day, I'd be like, oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, God, I bless you. God, I thank you. I praise you all day long. Like, but it's like, it's direct from me to the spirit or the presence that created me. So I do have that connection. It gets a little weird when we're on earth trying to figure out who said what and where it came from. And so I'm not scared to just ask the questions. And I think that as a people, we should ask questions. I just don't think we should just be out here doing it just to do it, just because what we heard from our grandmas. So that's my thought. If you are interested in following me, I am everywhere at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. I love you guys so much. I am going to therapy.
Bye, Tara.
Bye.
All right, so thank you so much. This has been a great conversation, like all conversations that we have here around spirituality, around relationship, around what you will and won't do, around, if God talks to you, doesn't talk to you. I want to be careful how I make this pivot, because I don't want to say that God is telling you to come to my event this weekend, because that would be rude. What I will say is that God uses me as a vessel to help encourage, empower, and support and teach my community. That I can say, okay? I know in my heart of hearts that what I do is ordained and that it's what I'm supposed to do. And so if you are an entrepreneur, if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you've been an entrepreneur, if you're struggling in your business and you want to be in a room full of Black people, of Black women who are doing good business, networking, talking the talk, walking the walk, but also prayed up, right? Who show up prayed up, ready to give you what you need. Come check us out this weekend. You can go to blackpowher, POWHER.com. We have 15 powerful Black women that are going to come and get you together. Our theme is Boss Up, Bank Up. And we don't know what's going on in the world. We don't know what's going on with Trump. We don't know what's going on with tariffs. We don't know nothing about that. But what we do know is that we need to make sure that our businesses stay strong, that they are sustained, and that we keep our freedom by way of being able to have our own businesses and be in control of our money. And so if that's what you're looking for, I hope to see you this weekend at blackpowher.com. If you use the code Dr. Boyce. You can save $50. So if you use the code Dr. Boyce, one word, Dr. Boyce, it will knock $50 off of your registration. So your general admission would be $49, okay? And your VIP would be only $99. So blackpower.com, code is Dr. Boyce. Faith should set you free, not silence you. If your relationship with God is built on guilt, fear, and self-sacrifice, then it might be time to examine who really benefits from your loyalty. Black women have carried the church for generations, but it's time we stop carrying burdens that don't belong to us. Your voice, your peace, and your financial future matter. Don't just submit, discern. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money. As always, first of all, thank you to the queens that were here today. Some of them have already dropped off, but thank you. It's always a blessing and just an honor to serve with you guys on this platform. Thank you to those of you guys that showed up in the chat. Thank you to our executive producers in the background. Go out and have a blessed day. Stay Black, be beautiful, and be one. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, everybody.